and trim the aircraft so that the column is in the neutral position as shown here. Plan for a long straight final and reset this trim position by 500 feet, accepting out of trim forces in order to have the column at its neutral position for landing or go around. Stick shake and stick push, with or without the correct indications, must always be accepted as a sign of an oncoming stall, and the standard recovery procedure must be applied. Ease nose down, increase thrust, check aircraft configuration, and ensure adequate airspeed. Once the angle of attack has been reduced, the system should return to normal and all indications extinguish. Should the stick push be maintained after proper standard recovery procedure, it is memory item to push both ident 1 and 2 inhibit buttons on either the left or right flight instrument panels. Stick push will cease. Both system channels are inhibited for the remainder of the flight, so stick push is no longer available. A reset is only possible on ground by maintenance personnel. Should either or both stick shakers be maintained after proper standard recovery procedure, pull both stick shake motor circuit breakers to disable them at the overhead circuit breaker panel as a read and do action according QRH. Fly with caution, as stick shake is not available from either channel. A single failure of a stall ident unit is indicated by an amber central warning panel stall ident caption and the two ident 1 or 2 amber flight annunciators on the left and right flight instrument panels. Proceed according QRH and inhibit the faulty channel by pressing its push button. Ident 1 or 2 and inhib is indicated in the buttons. Stick push from the remaining channel and both stall warn units are available for the remainder of the flight. When the amber flap fault caption at the central warning panel is illuminated, the flaps will still operate, in most cases, although at half speed only, for example after failure of a single hydraulic system. When the amber flap in-op caption at the central warning panel is illuminated, the whole flap system has failed. The flaps are locked in position when failure occurs. The flap lever is set to the flap position. If flaps fail between normal positions, set the flap lever to the next smaller normal position and use speeds for this smaller setting. The flap system might be shut due to a flap drive shaft failure, which would lead to asymmetric flap extension. When a small asymmetry of 2 degrees is detected, which does not cause handling problems, asymmetry brakes are applied. To ensure that asymmetry protection is maintained, maintain yellow hydraulic pressure and essential AC and DC. Do not re-rack the flap computer and do not attempt the ground flap reset procedure. Here we have some important flight control related limitations for the RJ-70. Here we have some important flight control related limitations for the RJ-85. Here we have some important flight control related limitations for the RJ-100. We start by checking whether the air brake lever is at in, and that the flap lever position matches the actual flap position, which can only be checked by aid of the markings inboard of pylon number 2. Now it's your turn to complete the pre-flight checks on your own. We have here a cockpit scheme, and by clicking on the respective area, you will get a more detailed partition where you can set switches or push buttons and so on. If you think everything is done correctly, press the check button, and if not, press not checked. Remember what you have learned in this module. Good luck. Switch auto spoiler and lift spoiler switches on. Yes, no big deal. Continue with the ground test panel. Test stall ident 1. That's wrong because the amber ident 1 and stall ident did not come on. Now test stall ident 2. Right, the test was successful. Thereafter, stall warn unit 1 is tested. Yes, stick shake indicates that stall tests stall warn 2 in the same manner. Yes, also stall warn 2 unit operates correctly. We are moving to the flap system tests. Please test whether flap safety lane 1 operates correctly. No, the flap in-op caption should go out after 12 to 15 seconds. This indicates a fault in the flap system. Call an engineer. Test the flap control lane yellow. Yes, the flap fault caption. Test the flap control lane green. Yes, the flap. You would now check full movement of rudder, aileron, and elevator trim. Let's consider this one done, but check if all trims are set to neutral for takeoff. Yes, according to the orange trim position markings, you see that trims are set to neutral for takeoff. Check that the aileron and elevator disconnect handles are in and the central warning panel, aileron elevator uncoupled caption is out. Yes, the disconnect handles are fully in and the AIL-EL uncoupled caption is out. After engine start or during taxi, set the flaps to 18 degrees. Correct. The flaps have been set for this takeoff. That is confirmed by the flap gauge. Before takeoff, the configuration has to be checked. Go ahead.